tariffs are off. It's like whiplash, and not the good kind, because the only bleeding going on in our whiplash is America's economy. This is just another day. Last night, as America's economy and most Americans' brains continued to implode, the president squeezed into his finest tuxedo to attend a fundraiser for the National Republican Congressional Committee, and he gave everyone a little insight as to what's going on behind the scenes.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
It sure is cool the way you treat our strategic alliances and global trading partners like they are hostages tied up in your basement. But I guess tarnishing relationships that provide us with crucial national security is fine as long as there's even the slightest chance that India will buy some corn. Well, apparently Trump's phone has been ringing because on the 1-week anniversary since Trump waddled back from Kinko's with his half-price tariff chart, he decided to do the one thing that he vowed he wouldn't do. He hit the pause button.
The president says he is authorizing a 90-day pause and substantially lowering the reciprocal tariff during this period of 10% effective immediately. There's some fuzzy language here.
Yeah, no kidding, there's some fuzzy language. This guy is freestyle rapping America's trade policy, and no one can get the mic away from him. And 90 days? Love when our tariff timeline is dictated by the latest reality TV show that Donald Trump watched. As usual, some errant synapse fired in his brain, and so Trump took to Truth Social to tell the world about his latest thoughts.
President Trump saying on Truth Social, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the United States markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States of America to 125% effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lower tariff during this period of also 10% effective immediately.
Hold on, a pause? But we were told that this president was a strong president, and strong presidents don't back down. That was supposed to be an ironclad rule. We don't talk about Bruno, and we don't capitulate. Strong presidents don't pause. Right, Caroline?
The president was asked to answer this yesterday. He said he's not considering an extension or a delay. I spoke to him before this briefing. That was not his mindset. He expects that these tariffs are going to go into effect.
See? I thought real men don't pause. Unless, of course, so I don't know, the market crashes so deeply that Ben Shapiro, Dave Portnoy, Larry Kudlow, and other darlings of the right suddenly start bailing on you. Then, well, maybe you do a teensy little pause. And in fact, if you need proof that what Trump did by bailing on his own plan was the right move, take a look at how the market responded.
Look at your screen right there as you are seeing the Dow surge as this 90-day pause is now hitting Wall Street, and investors are continuing to buy up these stocks here as they're feeling much more confident as the stock's rebounding right now in real time, as you can see, and you can see that huge, massive surge of more than 2,200 points in the green right now.
Yes, what a hero! He's like Spider-Man saving New York from the city's #1 villain, Spider-Man. This is him 101, a commander-in-chief of the United States who intentionally breaks things and then wants credit for fixing what he just broke. And he has created a cult of people who have zero shame stepping up to sing his praises.
This is one of the greatest days in American economic history we have had. I think we're going to call it the art of the reciprocal trade deal. And I'll tell you, all the nervous Nellies on Wall Street who try to undermine us consistently underestimate the power of the president to negotiate.
And right now the Dow is dancing. The market moved up with incredible velocity, and the S&P for the year is down only 7%, which is nothing. All he cared about was a good result and creating a deal, and that's what he got.
The golden age of America, it's coming now. You feel it now. Finally, someone is behind the desk in the Oval Office who's going to protect America and the world, and it's coming now, and I tell you what, it feels great.
Many of you in the media clearly
clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
No, Caroline, no one has failed to see what the president is doing here. It is beyond transparent. This is not a master negotiator at work. This isn't the art of the deal in motion. Because if it was, all of those jobs that Trump promised would be coming back to America. I mean, after all, that's what this was all about, right?
What you're going to see is the most modern factories of the world come back here.
The president wants to increase manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America, but he's also looking at advanced technologies. He's also looking at AI and emerging fields that are growing around the world that the United States needs to be a leader in as well. So there's an array of diverse jobs, more traditional manufacturing jobs as you discussed, but also jobs in advanced technologies. The president is looking at all of those. He wants them to come back home.
We're going to bring manufacturing back. That's where we're going. That's where this president is going. Let's make America great, and I mean great.
He means great. Unfortunately, it's more of a Great Depression kind of great. If the president's goal all along was to use these tariffs as a way to bring manufacturing back to the States, then why is everyone celebrating? Last time I checked, Nike didn't build a factory in Indiana in the last 3 days. What actually happened here is that Donald Trump used Americans' retirement accounts and college saving programs as leverage in his narcissistic ploy to stroke his own ego and make him feel like a winner. Just ask his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent.
All this was, again, this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along.
Exactly. This was his strategy all along, and that's Trump's brilliance. Not his economic policy, it is his ability to convince the people around him that no matter what he does, it's worthy of praise. Impose tariffs? Masterful gambit, sir. Let's bring those jobs right back to America. Remove tariffs? Masterful gambit, sir. Look at the stock market. Impose tariffs again? Masterful gambit. Let's bring those jobs back to America. Remove tariffs again? Masterful gambit, sir. Look at the stock market. And on and on. No matter what Trump does, no matter how contradictory, no matter how self-defeating, they will clap like seals because that is what is expected of them. But hey, in fairness, at least they've got a sound explanation for the tariff reversal.
Can you explain more of the decision-making on what feels like a reversal here? I mean, just these went into effect less than 15 hours ago, these tariffs. Why the pause now? What led to that?
No.
No! That's the one honest thing any of them has said all week. But just a little while later, Trump himself finally graced reporters with some of his airtight logic behind his liberation pause.
You said that these tariffs would go into effect on Monday. You said no pause. But today there is a pause. So how can people believe your words today?
It's not a question of that. You have to have flexibility. I could say, here's a wall, and I'm going to go through that wall. I'm going to go through it no matter what. Keep going, and you can't go through the wall. Sometimes you have to be able to go under the wall, around the wall, or over the wall. These guys know that better than anybody, right?
So the man who made the cornerstone of his campaign, building a wall to keep migrants out, is now using a wall metaphor to describe how actually walls are very easy to circumvent? What's next? Is Trump going to tell Americans how the swamp is actually an essential part of the ecosystem and should not be drained? And yet, to the surprise of no one, here's Trump patting himself on the back for the sudden rise in the stock market, which came, again, from him bailing on his own policy.
I think in financial markets, because they changed. Look how much it changed today. We went from, pretty moderate today, but over the last few days it looked pretty glum, to, I guess they say it was the biggest day in financial history. That's a pretty big change. And I think the word would be flexible. You have to be flexible.
You know what? I actually agree with Trump here. You do have to be flexible. Because these guys are bending over backwards to convince Americans that Trump actually knows what the fuck he's doing.